I'm going to show you the power of just one tiny shape that can change the sound of what you play completely from 1 second to another. It takes almost no work to remember this shape. It's learned in seconds and it's practiced in a minute or two, and you got it down. You can remember it tomorrow and you can use it. And we're going to take a foothold in something we know already, which is the first position minor pentatonic shape. And we're just going to expand that like that. And it's going to change everything you play, I promise you, for the better. And this is just an example of the power of utilizing what is really our privilege when we play guitar. And that is the fact that I was brought up, you had to learn all the shapes of the minor pentatonic and the blues scale across the neck, right? Okay, then we got the notes laid out. Cool. And what shapes that really is, it's just a coincidence, right? That's just because that's the way it looks when you lay out the notes like that. And then I learned all the notes of the major minor scale, the diatonic scale, also back and forth and horizontal and vertical and so on. Huge work, right? Unless you have some shortcut methods for doing this. But then I didn't really see the power of not just thinking in notes, because we do that on every other instrument, on a piano or on a violin. It's the same thing, no matter what instrument. It's just notes on the instrument. But on the guitar, we have shapes. And you can design shapes that has a unique sound because of how you play them naturally. So it matters how you lay out the notes on the fretboard. So this is just one tiny example of a little element that we can put into a whole that's going to, once we play through that little shape within our big shape that consists of a lot of these different little tools, is going to suddenly open up the sound when you use that shape. Then you go to another part of the path that we lay out, and it's going to sound a little bit different and different here. So the variety is built into our shape suddenly. Playing horizontal and vertical is built into our shape. And then we have the order of the notes we play, up and down, up and, we program our mind to go up and down with a different order of notes. So it's not just up and down the scale shape, right? Which is really ineffective. So when we start improvising, we already have an interesting way of shuffling the notes around in our shape. So we have everything packed together in one recipe that's going to allow us to really improvise freely. And everything we play is just going to sound amazing, which is cool. And this is an example of that. It's just a tiny one, right? Tiny little bits that we can use instantly. And that's the key. So what did I do here? Well, we're in the key of E minor. And we have we're just going to zoom in and go close up in a second. And we have our first position minor pentatonic in the 12th fret, right? And I'm playing over a track called the Peaceful Mellow Guitar Backing Track in E minor from Jammin' Backing Tracks. And you can click the link below to get access to that on YouTube. And please subscribe and, like and hit the bell icon, because these tracks are really great. Okay, so we're in the first position in the 12th fret. I'm just going to change 2 notes, boom, and you have a whole arpeggio that's really nice. So let's look into this. Because what I do here is so simple. I have my first position minor pentatonic in my 12th fret up here. Let me just scooch over here. So I got the 12th fret covered with my first finger, and then the 12th and the 15th on the low E string. And then we got the 12th, the 14th on the A, 12th, 14 on the D, 12th and 14 on the G. And then on the 2 top strings, we got the 12th and 15th on both the B and E string. And of course, if you're tuning in fourths, you just need to move these down. But standard tuning. So what I do is basically on the 2 middle strings, that's where you start. You take these 2 notes here in the 14th fret and you push them up 2 frets. So instead of going just standard middle 2 strings in the first position minor pentatonic, I just move them 2 frets up. Right, so now I could actually take this minor pentatonic here, and I could change it by simply pushing the 2 notes on the D and G string up 2 frets. So I play. Right? So, and why does this sound so spacey? Because it's the G major 7th arpeggio, but it's played in a really easy way where we just have 2 major thirds on 2 strings just following each other. So just by knowing this, right, I can just start by changing my lines from to going, right? And please note that this note here is already in the pentatonic scale. It's just a note in the 12th fret on the B string. And this is already in there. So the only new note here is the 9th, right? So we could design a minor pentatonic with the 9th in it. Right? But that doesn't sound so good, right? Sounds fine, but... And then we can start practicing that scale, so to speak, right? It is a scale. The minor pentatonic with the added 9th, right? But that doesn't sound like... If I play the whole thing in 3 octaves, I find that it's also down here in the 10th fret on the E string, and the 14th fret on the low E string, and then the same frets on the A string. So that goes below my minor pentatonic, but I can still use that. I can go... Right? So that changes the sound of my pentatonic completely, but it's the shape, it's not the note, because, as I said, that's fine, but that doesn't really give me this arpeggiated feeling there, right? So if I put on the track in the background and I start playing around with it, pentatonic, right, and back into the pentatonic again. So it works so effectively. It's amazing. But also I can do another thing with this little shape. I can add 2 notes on top of that shape. So if I have my 2 major thirds here on the 2 middle strings from the 12th to the 16th, like that, then I can add a note on top of it. That, of course, creates a little bit of a stretch here from my first to my third, but it sounds like this. I love that. All right. And the same thing on the other string. Right? Just listen to that. If I do that. Right? So this is such impressive results when it comes to changing my... I'm still just playing the minor pentatonic. I didn't learn new fancy scales or arpeggios. I just learned a fretboard shape, right? And that I could add to this place on the neck. So from now on, if you do this for 1 minute a day, right? Just put on a jam track, have fun going... Right? And you can use the pentatonic notes as well, of course. If you do that one and play around with it, then you will have a new sound, and it will be placed on the tool you use so much, the first position minor pentatonic. So I'm just going to have a little bit of more fun playing in this position here. Also, what I should just show you, of course you can figure that out for yourself, but if you have the shape here in the 12th fret on the D string, then you also have it in standard tuning up here in the 15th fret, the 17th fret, and the 19th fret on the 2 top strings. And so you also have the extra notes there in the 20th fret. Is that what it is? Yes, that's what it is. So it looks like this. Well, most people will play this as a scale, but as we have redundant notes, right? We have this note here on that string, that top note. If I do that shape, it's the same as this one. So, and you can totally go. Creates a nice little sound if you play both. But we're not about creating scales here. We're about creating sounds through creating fretboard shapes, right? So if you play something, then you can add to that by going. Once you're on the new string, following the 2 note per string format, you can then add. So I hope you see the enormity of this concept. It's a little idea here, just, a little path on the fretboard, and then suddenly the whole sound changes. What if we could come up with a bunch of these? What if the shape that we play actually influenced the sound that we use when we improvise? And what if we had a whole path of that? So we were just naturally going up and down the fretboard, and within all those sounds that we then implement into our path, we could practice going up and down with varying sequences, so that even our way of going from A to C was interesting. We were training our fingers to do that. That will be the ultimate improvisational tool, right? So this little arpeggio here works amazing over a minor track. It also works very well over a major track. So we have some power here, and we can always go in and out of that. So that's really cool. But just imagine where we can take this. So I hope to see you practice this. Make sure you don't forget, right? Don't just go, oh, that's a nice idea. Don't practice it. Put on the track, click the link below, and then make sure you can't forget it tomorrow. And then spend just a minute every day for the next week. You're just playing with this little shape. Just a huge difference with so little work. Go to my website right now and sign up for my breakthrough program, which will show you the most effective, most important exercises that you can do in legato, in alternate picking, sweep picking, and economy picking. Exercises that will get you there in the fastest way possible. It's free.